Hello, this is Jimmy from Stuart Arts, and today I would like to talk about my Kalamazoo 1" by 42" belt sander. I've had this tool for about 6 months now, and it's served me quite well. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the features that it has and some of the things that I like about it. I bought this to replace a tabletop Delta 1" sander that I had for many years. An idler wheel went bad on it, and I actually was shopping for the part, and I realized it was going to cost me as much for the part as the thing was really worth. So I gave it to a friend and decided to step up and get this model. I did a little bit of research before I went after it, but the thing that keyed me in on it, quite frankly, is that I heard Tubal Cain talk about this thing on a few occasions in his videos, and I respect his opinion, and he uses it quite a bit in his videos, and I just kind of like the look of it, so I set about shopping. So my wife, she's a bargainista. She shopped around online, and we got this thing delivered for something under $300, and it came right out of the box ready to go. I didn't have to do anything with it at all. So I'm just going to go ahead and go over a couple of the features, and I'm going to demonstrate a belt change and also how to adjust the belt tracking. Just a quick review of what we're talking about here. I believe Kalamazoo calls this the 1SM, but here's some other numbers. When we ordered it, it was the 505-1371, but when you look at the nameplate, the catalog is 486-021. So again, this is a 1" by 42". It's a 1/3 horsepower motor on this. So here's the nameplate if you're interested. I hope that shows up okay. You can see some of the specifications there just to be absolutely sure you know what I'm talking about. So I found this to be a pretty dandy little tool here. It's very simple in its design. There's the drive wheel that comes right off the motor, and it drives the belt here, and then there's an idler up top here. Very simple design, really almost nothing to it, and then it has this little knob here that when you loosen it, you can actually use that to adjust the tracking of the belt on the mandrel there. This thing came pretty much out of the box ready to go. I did not have to do anything to it, and in fact, for a while I ran it without even having it mounted to anything, but somebody threw away this nice walnut plaque, so it was the perfect size. I drilled some holes in it and mounted it on there. You know, this tool is not one that you're really going to lean into. The motor is quite heavy just on its own, but when put it on this base here, there's really no need to have this thing mounted to a bench. I don't know what type of motor this is. I've heard people say that this is a Dayton motor. That may be. I don't see the Dayton mark on here anywhere. But whatever it is, the thing runs very nice and very smooth, and I've had no issues with it whatsoever. So just to turn it on here, you can see, I mean, there's just no vibration to this thing whatsoever. It really is a very smooth running piece of equipment. And of course there's the belt going around. About the only thing I've done in the way of modifications to this, and this doesn't even really count, is I just put these little marks on here with the Sharpie, and that's just to give me a visual cue when I'm sharpening drill bits. So what do I use this thing for? Well, it's a pretty light duty sander. I mean, you don't want to do major work. I do knife making, but I do most of my, I'll call it hogging out, with my larger equipment. And over here I have a large Delta 4", and sometimes I'll use that, or I just have my little 6" grinder, and I'll use that to do the major work on the metal. And then what I'll do is I'll bring it back over to the Kalamazoo to do my fine sanding, or to do the final finish on the blade. This uses a 1" by 42" belt, and you can get these pretty much anywhere. I bought these on eBay. I think they were about $1 a piece. I got a package of 10. I mean, delivered, it was $10 to my doorstep. So You know, I probably go through a belt about every 2 weeks, and I have to say I use this thing pretty much on a daily basis, and really multiple times. I use it for you know, finishing off the ends of metal, for doing chamfering. I'll do little fine finishing with wood and so forth. I'll square it off, or I'll do a little bit of shaping. This part of it on the mandrel, it's good for squaring. And then this part is a little bit flexible, so if you have a rounded surface that you need to use, you've got this nice area here to work the rounded surface. So to remove the belt, it's very simple. What you do is you just loosen this little knob on the shaft and just push it down. This thing is spring loaded. Push it down and the belt pops right off. That'll go into the trash. And let's see, does this have a direction to it? It does. So just put it over the drive belt and over the mandrel, and then just push down on the idler and put the tension back on it, and you're all set. Close the little lid here, safety lid, and you are ready to go. So I just go ahead and turn it on. Now the way that you adjust the tracking is you just turn this thing back and forth, and it'll move back and forth to exactly where you want it. So just turn it on. You can see that it moved around just a little bit. So that's right where I like it. I like it right next to the edge of the mandrel. And so I'll tighten that up. And that is exactly where it will stay until the belt is worn out or I change it. So those are some of the comments that I have. If you have any questions, you know, ask them in the comments. I'll be glad to tell you anything else I can about it. It's a really good tool in my estimation, and I'm very happy that I bought it. This is Jimmy from Stuart Arts, signing off.